Good morning, everyone. And does she need any introduction here?
Yes, give it to me. I earned every one of these things. You better give it to me.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Bozoma Saint John is a Hall of Fame inducted marketing executive, an author, entrepreneur, and a general badass.
Yes, that's right. That's correct.
She's held some of the top marketing jobs for some of our largest brands like Pepsi, Amazon, Endeavor, Uber, Apple, and Netflix.
Yes.
And she's also been a case study for the Harvard Business School.
Because who wouldn't want to know how I do what I do?
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to learn a lot about you today.
Yes.
So a few weeks ago, she published her memoir, The Urgent Life. The book is a story of grief and one woman's drive to thrive in the face of loss. All of that said, I love this part of this. She counts her highest achievement as being a mother to her 13-year-old daughter, Leah. I love this. So we thought we'll start with some icebreaker, just warm up. Not that we needed the warm up, but it's always great to have.
I know, the warm up was actually coming on the stage.
I know. So, book or e-reader?
Book.
I mean, of course, here.
Exactly, I'm like that.
Sneakers or pumps?
Ooh, stilettos.
Ah, love it.
Because then you can take them off and cut somebody if you need to. Sometimes it needs to be a weapon. I'm not a violent person, but you know what I'm saying?
Beaches or mountains?
Ooh, beaches. Because I look good in a bikini.
Morning or a night person?
Oh, night.
Night, oh.
Yeah.
But I love your morning routine.
I know, that's learned behavior. I'd much rather stay out all night long, baby. Yeah, much rather.
Okay, reality TV or documentary?
Reality.
Huh. I can see you on one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think you're going to be awesome.
Oh, they better watch out.
Last movie you watched?
Oh, the last movie, Avatar.
Oh, it was a good movie, yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Best concert you've been to?
Prince at South by Southwest about, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. It was for 200 people, and he played for literally 5 hours. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
200.
It was amazing.
Sounds special.
Yeah.
Favorite podcast and or book, and you can say this one.
Favorite podcast? We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach. Some of my favorite people, love them. And favorite book, Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison.
Awesome, yeah. I listen to the podcast every time I go for a walk.
Oh, yeah?
They're just so good. Yeah.
They are,
Yeah.
I know, so real.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we're going to switch gears now.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about your book that you just released. I'm curious to hear why your first book, especially this was your first book, and you decided to make it a memoir instead of it being a book about marketing or business. Can you share a little bit about that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll probably be no surprise that that's what every publisher wanted me to write. I've been approached to write a book for a long time, and everybody wanted me to write the How to Be a Badass book. Or, the C-suite for dummies. I was like, well, that actually doesn't work without understanding how I became who I am. Yeah. That you don't get to understand how it is that I walk around the way I am without understanding what I've actually overcome. This didn't happen because I woke up one day and decided, oh, I'm going to be a badass. It happened because I've been forged through fire. Because I've been through some stuff that will fell most people. That's why I walk around like this. I'm not just fearless, I'm fierce because of what I have been through. So I needed to write this book first.
But I think I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you mentioned COVID being the time where this felt like a perfect moment to be writing this one.
Yeah.
And can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, is that I'm sure most of you feel it. It feels so taboo to talk about your personal stuff at work, right? You feel like, oh, I'm oversharing, or somebody's gonna think I'm weak, or that I'm distracted or any number of things. And the wild thing is that it's not even most of the time about stuff that is heavy. It's like your everyday stuff that is hard to deal with. And I remember being on countless video calls. I mean, we all were, right? At the beginning of the pandemic, and people apologizing for being sick or apologizing. I know, right? You laughed. I mean, it was so wild that you apologize for that. How many times you heard that? You know, somebody say, I'm so sorry, I'm sick. What? You know, or like, I'm sorry, my kid is crying. Excuse me? Like, shouldn't you go see what's wrong with the kid? You know what I mean? Or like, apologize for any number of things. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, well, I could literally see into your bedroom. I see your half-naked spouse running around in the background. Like, now I know what your man looks like. Like, really. Like, you should be more, you know, we can be open with each other now, you know? We're kind of like sister wives at this point, aren't we? You know? But people still felt the need to hide.
Yeah.
You know, hide the things that are happening. And so I thought, well, maybe this is a good opportunity right now to essentially let my stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm pretty open on social media. I'm a pretty open person anyway. But even in my openness, I haven't gone as deep as I go in my memoir.
Yeah.
And so it felt like the right time because I think we all need permission to be able to be more vulnerable, to be able to be more open. We have all of these conversations around mental health and wellness, but we don't practice it really. We've written a lot of policy around it. Look, I've been in the room when we've written the update to the employee handbook.
Yeah.
But we don't practice it. And sometimes it feels like we need the permission from leadership who are showing that. Mm-hmm. You know, there are no perfect people. And so even in my case, I'm like, well, I need to show up that way so that other people can show up that way.
Lead by example.
Correct.
Yeah. I want to talk about like living life urgently. That's like the gist of your book. Mm-hmm. What does it mean, and what advice or what are some tactical tips you have for some of us who really want to do that and live life urgently?
Yeah. Well, the anchor of my book is based on my husband's battle with cancer and then his eventual death. This was almost 10 years ago, actually, and we were living in New York. I was working at PepsiCo. My daughter was 4 when he was diagnosed. She had just turned 4, and I was like on the rise, right? It was like that. It was that moment, you know, when everything is like going the way that you've written, you know, or the goals that you've set. Like that was that moment for me. Yeah. It was 2013. I was running the music and entertainment marketing group at PepsiCo, which of course was like, you know, the group to be in because PepsiCo is run by its marketers, you know, and it's known for its entertainment, sort of like spokespeople mm-hmm. and these big commercials, that kind of thing. And I had just been through the very difficult negotiation with the NFL to own the Super Bowl halftime show for mm-hmm. a decade. And then the bigger challenge, which I know y'all gonna be like, what? The challenge of actually getting Beyonce on that stage. Yeah. Not because she didn't want to go, but because nobody wanted her, let her go.
Yeah.
You know, it'd been 10 years since Janet Jackson, the infamous wardrobe malfunction caused by Justin Timberlake. So I want everybody to take Janet Jackson's name out their mouth, okay? That was Justin's fault. And, you know, the topic was like, you know, could a black woman do the show?
Yeah.
Even if it's Beyonce, right? And so it was such a coup to win big. You know, she got on that stage, she set the whole thing on fire, like literally and figuratively. Yeah. We were winning awards. I mean, it was like everything was up.
Yep.
And then my husband was diagnosed with cancer in May of that year. And my mother was also battling her own second bout of cancer. And it just felt like the high highs and the low lows. You know, everything was like happening at once. So it was like I was managing all of that. My daughter was 4. I'm like trying to do the thing. You know, at work, I was just trying to do it all. And when Peter died in December of that year, it just felt like, you know, sometimes I think there's a moment where you consider your purpose and you consider, why am I here? Like, what is this all for? You know, we had so many conversations, which I'm so thankful for. You know, I don't know that necessarily you can look back on a moment like that and be thankful for it, but I am thankful. I'm thankful for the moments to talk about life, you know, talk about the things that we should have done, could have done, would have done. Life becomes very clear when you know that the end is coming. And that is so wild to me because we all know the end is coming, right? And it's not a morbid thing.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't be afraid of that. We know it's coming. So why is it that we pretend it's not? Like, why do we live as if, like, every day is just granted?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, look, I am living urgently because I want to live the whole life that I have. Like, I want to be satisfied in this life. In the beginning of my book, I quote Diane Ackerman, who's another favorite author of mine. Mm-hmm. The quote is that I want to get to the end of my life and not just have lived the length of it, but to have lived the width of it. And it's like, we should think about that. You know, it's like, how many of us like drink water and maybe do a sit-up or two? You know what I'm saying? Eat some salad, you know what I mean? You over here, no burgers today, you know? Because you want to live a long life. Isn't that what we're trying to do? You know, we're like, oh, the years.
Yes.
So you see somebody who's like, oh, you know, this person passed away, they were 96-year-old. You're like, oh, fantastic. What a long, wonderful life. It's like, how do you know it's a long, wonderful life? Did they live like the width of their life, though? Yeah. Were they satisfied in their life? And my point is that now it has totally changed my perspective on everything because I want to live a life that I am satisfied with. You know, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm highly ambitious, as you can probably tell. Super competitive. Yes. I got goals, okay? I got places I want to be. And I think that there's a misconception that if you are ambitious and you have goals and you want to get to this place, that you must stay dissatisfied with your life. You know, as if it's like, oh, you know what? When I get to this part, then I'm going to be happy. When I get to that thing, then I'm going to be like excited. You know, when I get to this thing, then I'm going to celebrate. Look, I am celebrating every single day. It's like, if I go tomorrow, I promise you I'm satisfied with this life. I promise you I'm excited about it. Like, there won't be a day when I wake up and feel like, oh man, I should have done. No, like I'm doing the things. And I want us all to feel like that. I want us to all feel that effervescent about our lives and passionate about the things we're doing. And it's not that, like, you look, not every day you're gonna be all happy and giggly. Yeah. There's some days when I have resting bitch face, okay? However, at the core of my life, I feel wholly satisfied. And that, I think, is the goal of living.
I love it. And it's about... I love that it's about even just the small things. It's not about like looking for those big things, right? It's like living life even with those small things.
Yeah,
I love
look,
it, yeah.
I almost busted my whole bleep as I walked up on this stage today. You know what I mean? My shoe came out, then I put it on successfully, made you clap for me. I feel very successful today. I'm super satisfied.
And you're inspiring all of us today, so yeah. So our theme for Women's History Month is coming together.
Yes.
And as a community, we do come together, especially in the moments that matter. I mean, boy, have we had a lot of those over the past few years. And you talk a bit about that in your book around how you've leaned on your community and your tribe, essentially. And especially as you kind of went through all these challenges with Peter's death. Can you share a little bit about that, especially leaning on the community in times of grief?
Yes, yes. Well, I think that is sort of adjacent to the taboo, you know, of talking about, what's going on, right? It feels like weakness when you admit that you can't manage the things that are going on. But the wild thing is that we are all dealing with that. You know, there are moments for all of us where we feel like, oh man, this is a lot. Like, I need somebody to come pitch in and do this, you know? And at the time when Peter was ill, I didn't feel comfortable telling people about all the things. I mean, and I just listed it to you. Like, it sounds like a lot, right? But I didn't feel comfortable telling even my colleagues, you know, that like, look, we've got a deck due tomorrow. But I actually haven't been home because I had to run to New Jersey to see my mom, go to Memorial Sloan Kettering to be with Peter during his appointment. Oh, pick up my daughter from, daycare and the nanny, and then have to bathe her and put her to sleep. And she didn't want us to go to sleep, so I had to stay up with her. And then, by the way, I had to then answer the emails that I missed that day because I was distracted and couldn't think clearly. And now I got to write a deck for tomorrow? No, it's not happening. It's like, but there was no way for me to communicate that. And after Peter was diagnosed as terminal, it almost became like I didn't have a choice. It's like sometimes when you hit the bottom, there is no choice. And the person I went to was a guy that I worked with. His name was Chad. I mean, how ridiculous is it? White man named Chad. You know what I mean? But I promise you, he's like the sweetest, most wonderful person. But I just think it's so stereotypical. Like somebody's got to think I'm making that up. I'm like, no, it's a white man named Chad, okay, that I went to at the office. But Chad was the first person that I said, hey, like my whole world has caved in, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to manage this. And it was the first time anyone I felt in my work environment was empathetic. I didn't realize that people could be. I really didn't. And maybe some of you feel that way, where you feel like, you can't say the things because, somebody would think you're too distracted. Yeah, like, why are you you oversharing? TMI. Yeah. It's like, no, this is not TMI. Is it like I need help? And then I would say, like, even my personal circles, again, I think, especially being a Black woman, there's this stereotype of being strong all the time. And so even asking for help from friends to pick up my daughter, or can you like make dinner, or anything, seemed weak. It seemed like weakness. Yeah. It felt like I couldn't, if I didn't ask for it, I just couldn't do it. But interestingly enough, like I said, through this process, I learned to be more open, with asking for help. That I know it's going to sound so corny, but it is not weakness. It's like it actually takes a lot of strength to admit that you need somebody's help to do something, And I have found that it's been more helpful to be specific about the thing I need help with, because that then gives purpose to the ask. And for the most part, I mean, there's some not nice people in the world. I was going to say something else, because, I curse like a sailor out here, you know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to be nice. But it's like, there are some people who are exceptions. Yeah. But for the most part, people are really kind. If you ask for specific help, they are going to give it to you. And so I've learned to do that. And then the other lesson I learned, especially as it pertains to work, which I learned from Jimmy Iovine when I was working at Apple and we were building Apple Music, I would see that in certain meetings, he would keep bringing up the same person, or like 3 or 4 people every time in the meeting. None of them worked at Apple. You know what I mean? And he would just reference them in meetings all the time. We'd be with Tim Cook, and he'd be over here like, Brian Grazer does great films. And I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with the algorithm? You know what I mean? But he would keep bringing up people. And I realized that the pattern was that he was bringing up the names of his friends, who were doing specific things because it was like, a little pact that they had.
Yeah.
And so before you knew it, Brian Grazer's over here directing commercials. Oh, word? Oh, that's how it works, So then I realized that help is not just in the times of despair.
Yep.
The help is also in times when you're growing and you're building and you feel successful. Yeah. So I got my little group chat, okay, with my 4 friends, and we just pop information in there all the time. And it's not necessarily all the big things about like, this person's getting a promotion or like this huge thing they've done. Sometimes it's the little things because they need to come up in conversation, so that they're spoken in rooms that they're not in. And that has been a really big lesson in getting help too.
Awesome. We actually do have a Women at Community chat room here that
there you go.
I see, especially when there are these big events or like, some moments that happen, a lot of chat over there, and it does help actually just to resonate and talk with somebody else about it.
I put in the chat, I did my hair today, which I did, by the way.
You look lovely.
Do my hair most days. It really didn't deserve applause, but that's fine. Thank you.
But I love the flip, though.
Thank you.
Like awesome.
I did it for dramatic effect.
So on the other side, like we talked about community, and I loved how you talked about being the only one, or as you said it, the odd one out, and still being extremely comfortable with it. Like, it's something that we struggle a lot here, and I would love to hear what gives you that confidence. And I know you've shared a story about when you moved from Ghana, all the way from Ghana to Colorado as a 12-year-old. I mean, that must have been really hard, but you were still very grounded about it. And really, really would love to hear, where do you get that confidence to...
Well, I think there's a number of things. You're right. When my family moved from Ghana, which is where my parents were originally from, to Colorado Springs, Colorado, when I was 12. And is somebody from Colorado Springs? Oh, hell no.
But yeah.
How the hell did you get here? Ah, Liberty Lancers, look at us. Oh, we're cute. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna talk later. But as you will attest, it is not the most diverse place. It is not. Okay, you're at the bottom of the Rocky Mountains, and there's not much going on, So when we moved there, as you can imagine, when you're 12, like, you just want to be like everybody else, right? All of us remember that time. I don't know, there might be a few exceptions in here who were just like, "Ooh, I'm the best" at 12 years old. Most of us were lanky and odd and had hair that didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And I was really trying to fit in, not because I wasn't proud of who I am or where I came from, but because I just didn't want to be different from everybody else. And when I finally broke into like the inner sanctum of like the girls who were cool and cute, I was like, oh, hallelujah. I'm just going to do exactly what they're doing, And then I reached the next level of the challenge, which was to get them to come over to my house. Y'all know these are levels. You know what I mean? That was a level that was unlocked. And they were planning to come over, and my mom is over here, pots and pans are clanging together. And I was like, what are you doing? Because I don't know if anybody has ever met an African mom. You do not want to challenge her when she's in the kitchen. You know what I mean? But I bravely went in there and was like, excuse me, Mom, what are you making? And what she said was not what I wanted her to say,
Wasn't pizza.
So I was like, can we just get some pizza? Like, can it just be simple? And she was like, so you're telling me, just like that, okay? And so you go to their house, and you are going to eat pizza. And then speak their language. And then when they come to our house, they're going to eat fufu and pepper soup. And I was like, what? No! And I had these poor little white people just with their flame cheeks and tears running down their faces. It was not a successful play date, we'll put it that way. But it did teach me a big lesson, though. Obviously I can laugh about it now as an adult after years of therapy. But what it taught me was that, it's really honestly true that there is no assimilation.
Yeah.
There cannot be. And so part of my confidence comes from the fact that I am as important as you. When I'm in your space, oh yeah, we can eat the pizza. We'll do whatever you want to do. When you're in my space, however, we're going to do what I do. We're going to be the way I am. And so therefore, I can walk into rooms, understand what's going on, make myself at home, and then guess what you're going to do? Eat some fufu and pepper soup. That's what's going to happen. All this pepper is here for you.
And the red cheeks again.
Yeah, that's fine. They'll get over it, it's fine.
So just as you said, so we talk about bringing our whole self to work and bringing our culture, our families and what's happening in our lives, right? But I do believe that when there are those moments when you have a loss or you have tragedy within your own family or your own entire life, right? Yeah. We take those leaps, we go, settle in, and then come back and pretend as if nothing happened.
Ooh, yeah.
But it's extremely hard. You know how hard it is to come back. And is there any advice for us on how we can support our colleagues when they're going through these hardships and when they come back and we don't really pretend that nothing happened, right? Basically, yeah.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing, There have been so many conversations I've had about what to do when a friend or a loved one or maybe even just a colleague that you are semi-friendly with is going through some grief. What do you do? It's like, do you go up to them immediately and say, I'm so sorry? Did you give them a hug out of the blue? No, don't do that. You know, it's like what do you do? And I think it's really difficult to have a blanket statement. You know, this is why I am more interested in talking about self than I am talking about like what to do for someone who you don't know what they want. You know, it's like if we all show up authentically, then we are better able to be served authentically. You know, it's like we can't expect people to be psychic in the world. Well, there are some psychics among us. I don't disrespect you, but because all inclusivity here, okay? But the point is that if we are better able to communicate fearlessly, vulnerably about what it is that we need, then we shall receive the thing that we need.
Yeah.
You know, but we have to also make an environment where people feel safe to do that. So that's the piece that I think is most important. It's not so much like, what do I do when somebody is grieving? It is like, how am I making a safe space where any emotion they're feeling is welcome? Yeah. You know, how do we create that for our colleagues? And this is not a leadership question. Yeah. You know, this is not a policy question. Nobody's going to write it and tell you how to be. Yeah. You know, but if you're in a group, a working group, and you are able to be open and vulnerable or create it, you know, sometimes it really requires you saying the words. Then you will find that not only you will be able to show up with your emotion and the things that you need support with, but other people will be able to do that. It's so much better when we all do it.
Yeah, and I love it. It's about creating that psych safety is what we say, right? Because if you create that, then you should be able to share everything. Even if it's uncomfortable, right? It's about like,
Yeah, for sure. And look, now, this is where I say the controversial things, because I can never get out of conversations without saying controversial things. I don't know why, you know? But it's okay, I'm gonna say it anyway. The thing is, if you feel really uncomfortable in the situation that you're in, right? You feel like it's not possible to do the things, then you shouldn't be in that space. It's really that simple. You really should not be in the space. Like, I want you to get out. Because the thing is that you're not being strong. That's not the thing. It's not the fighting through. Like, I'm just confused about why we think that suffering is something to be rewarded. You know, that like pushing through is like the thing to celebrate. Nah, saving yourself is the thing to celebrate. Getting up and being like, you know what, bump this, I'm out of here. That's the thing to celebrate. Because toxicity is not healthy for us. We all know that, right? We're all nodding our heads, we know that. But then do we actually behave that way? You know, do you sit in a toxic environment and just think like, oh man, if I leave, then I'm giving up? I'm weak because I didn't push through? No, you're just like hurting yourself. And my understanding of it for myself is that my energy is finite. It's not infinite, it is finite. So let's say I'm walking in with 100, okay? And now I gotta like battle all these microaggressions and people who don't want me to tell them that I'm having a bad day and, oh, my hair's out of place, you didn't even tell me, you know? Like all the things. And my energy then is depleted to like 60%. And now I'm supposed to do the work and do it brilliantly with 60% of what I have. Yeah. While everybody else is walking around here with 100, you think I'm gonna win that way? Absolutely not. And so it's like the consideration of that for me in my life is what has helped me to achieve what I have and then also to do it whole without the pieces of me broken along the way.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. Just leave the space. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about your amazing career that you've had, and especially about the Harvard Business School study, right? Because it's about it's about anatomy of a badass. And you know, can you share a little bit around like what's the Spark Notes version of it that you know it's like worth sharing with this group because you talk about being your authentic self, right? And how can you do that? So I would love to hear that. Yeah.
Well, it actually started when I was at Uber because I met Frances Frye, who's an incredible professor at Harvard Business School. We were in a very hot environment. In fact, Amina Rama, sitting here in the front row, was my assistant at the time. So good to see you, girl. You look good. Haven't seen her since those days either, so it's good to see you. But I was in a position where I was the chief brand officer at a time when it was really the brand of Uber that was suffering. You know, it was like, that was the pressure. It was like, okay, the engineering is fine. You know, the mechanics inside of the app are fine. There are challenges, obviously, with like internally. There are challenges everywhere, but the brand of Uber was suffering. It was like the days of the hashtag delete Uber, right? All over. And when I met Frances, she was surprised at how I still showed up as myself. You know, because every day I came to work, I had to not just like live inside of the environment, but also be responsible for what was happening outside. Yeah. You know, so communicating with the media and answering the tough questions, and it was a battle, you know? But I decided that I wasn't gonna shrink. I remember the day that the New York Times article came and it was like the headline said, "Is this the woman who will save Uber?" And there was my face. And I was like, damn it, this is gonna be a bad day, you know? Like, why'd they do this to me, you know? But it was that kind of environment that I was in that I had to show up as myself every day. I wasn't going to shrink in it. You know, that I had to say the things I had to say with my full chest, even when it was difficult in the room because not everybody agreed. You know, if you're pushing an agenda of inclusivity and of care and of trust, and other people are not concerned about those things, you still got to say it. And it's a very difficult thing to do. And sometimes, you know, we'll just continue with the controversies that we're talking about. Some people don't show up inside of the closed door the way we think they do. Yeah. You know, they'll say it outside, but they won't say it inside. When the doors are shut and there are no cameras. And y'all know, I was out here saying things. And so Frances was intrigued by why that is. And she decided to write a case about it. And so the case is titled Leading in Authenticity, essentially. And so when the case was published, clearly I'm a living case study. I mean, hello, who gets to say that? And she asked me if I would come and add to the class. And I said, well, yeah, only if I can rename it. And so she said, well, what would you like to call it? And I was like, The Anatomy of a Badass. That's what I would like to call it. And so that's what she's been teaching for the last 3 years. It's been great. Thanks.
Love it.
By the way, can I tell you that when I first, and by the way, this happened over email, right? So I sent her the email, and she was like, Boz, I love you, but there's no way this title gets approved. And I was like, well, can we try first before you have me change it? You know what I mean? Just go ahead and push it through, girl, push it through. You know? And she was like, oh my God, the things you get me into. And I'm like, your life will be better, I promise you. And then guess what? Yeah, exactly, it got approved. Thank you very much.
Thanks for pushing on that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So, okay.
Wait, it wouldn't be authentic if I didn't push on that.
Yes, yeah.
See?
Authenticity in practice.
That's right. That's right.
So, what's the best career advice, and what's the worst that you've got so far?
Oh.
The worst I know, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll start with the worst, which is that I mean, and look, the thing is that sometimes the worst advice comes from the people who love you the most. Because they're not really trying to hurt you. Yeah. You know, they're not trying to like destroy your life and ruin your career. You know, but they are operating from a place of their own fear, from their own trauma. And so they think they're giving you good advice based on their journey, right? They're like, oh, I've been there, girl. Let me tell you what to do. Because I don't want you to fall down the same rabbit hole I fell down. But the problem with that is that they actually haven't walked in your same journey. They're not on the same path. Because I mean, look, let's just make it literal. You've been driving along the street, right? And 5 minutes ahead of you, something happens, like misses you. 5 minutes. And so that's like life. Because you were there 5 years ago doesn't mean the same thing is going to happen to me today. You know, and so sometimes the advice is just out of context. And so I was told very early on, actually, in my career that I shouldn't wear red lipstick or have long nails or have, you know, red nail polish because it would make me look too bold in a room. I wouldn't be taken seriously. Hello, you know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is that for me, it's like, this might sound superficial, but it really isn't. I think when you are battling what sometimes can be judged as the superficial. So it has become like armor for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear sequins on a random Tuesday afternoon, and my hair's gonna be big, and I'm gonna be wearing the red lipstick, and I dare you to say something to me. You know? It's like, I want to be able to appear the way that I feel strongest. And sometimes when you get advice, whether it's about, like I said, something that's going on in the outside, or maybe be given advice about what's happening on the inside, you know, somebody will say, oh, well, you know, sometimes your ideas, they come off aggressive, or you're uncollaborative, you're too excited, give people room to talk. I'm like, well, maybe they didn't have anything brilliant to say. Maybe that's why I'm talking so much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm working with a bunch of dummies. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. But you know, it's like there's sometimes advice that we get which is actually detrimental to us, even if it's given and served with the sheen of help. And the best advice that I've ever received actually came from Indra Nooyi, who was the CEO of PepsiCo at the time, and she's the one who said, bring your full self to work. She's the one who did that. And she was the first woman executive I saw who talked about her kids in big town halls. I mean, can you imagine? At the time, this was like 15 years ago, you know? The world has changed so much since then. And she was under a lot of pressure, you know, under fire, because she was succeeding, you know, a CEO who was highly popular, very effective, a bunch of men, you know, and then here she comes, an Indian woman, who is to take the reins over one of the biggest companies on the planet. And she talked about being a mom and being a wife, and sometimes the challenges of both in having to do her executive job. And I just found her incredibly inspiring. So I love that advice.
I love it, yeah. We have a few more minutes before I want to open it to the audience for questions.
Hey, audience participation.
But I thought I'll ask this question because it was very intriguing and something that I think a lot of us will relate over here.
Yeah.
Scarcity mindset. It's something that a lot of us deal with, and part of it is basically based on our upbringings or you know, how we've been taught to do certain things. And so there's a constant thing around like, this is all I can get, and I don't think I can aspire for more. And so what advice do you have for folks that struggle with this to kind of go ahead and ask for more?
Yeah, oof. Well, that's a really tough one too, you know, because that has a lot to do with, like you said, sometimes our upbringing or society in general, you know, but I like analogies. I'm a marketer, you know, I like to tell stories. So the analogy I'd give it is like having a glass. You know, that we do that glass, you know, half full, half empty thing. So imagine that you are the glass and your glass is half full. So when you are going in to ask for promotion or you want the next job or the thing, the point is that you need room in your glass to be able to pour more things into, to grow you, right, to fill you. But many times what we're dealing with is going in with the glass already full. Because we're like, no, I just, you know, like this is what I can achieve. Like this is what I have to have. Like, you know, I need all of these things in order to just slowly get over there. You know, but it's actually working against you. Because if you go in with a glass half full, then you're able to grow because more things come in. If you go with the glass already full, what happens? You add more things to it and whoop, you get things spilling over the side. Everything's wasted. And so I think the scarcity idea is actually working backwards for us. You know, where I'm like, yes, think of scarcity in what you have inside, like what needs to be able to be built up, versus like, this is the only thing I can get, and let me just squirrel this away, and let me just be the only one over here doing my little thing. No, you need to be full. And the only way to be full is if you're actually half empty. If you're actually able to be in a space where you're like, hey, look, I don't have everything yet, but I need more of it. And more of it comes sometimes from experiences, sometimes from your colleagues, sometimes from, you know, things you read or anything else. But it's like, how do we operate in a way where we change the idea of scarcity from like, let me just squirrel this away, to how am I appearing in the world half full so that I can grow some more?
Yeah, looking inside, basically.
That's right.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. We are now ready for some audience questions. We have a mic down in the center over here, so if folks could come up over there and ask their questions, that'll be awesome.
Well, well. Oh, hello. Homegirl just
oh,
ran. Did you used to run track?
Oh my God.
You a sprinter? I mean, my God. You trying out for the Olympics, girl? No, okay.
That was fast.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Bozoma. This was so inspiring. I just could relate so much. Like, my parents are from Morocco, North Africa. They have their own cuisine. When friends would come over, I would have the same conversation with my mom.
But let me say some tangine, baby. I'm down for it.
Exactly.
Okay?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
If you had a time machine and you could go back in time, what would you tell your 12-year-old self with all the knowledge that you have today?
Yeah. What would I tell my 12-year-old self? Because that's different from the 21-year-old self. I'd be like, girl, you better party. The 12-year-old self, you know, I would tell her that she's right. She's right. I remember looking in the mirror when I was 12 and knowing that I was so dope. I'm telling you, like I knew it. I knew it. But the world didn't know it. I would go to school and they would make me not feel like I was dope. You know, either because like I couldn't break into the right circles, or I was left out of things, or hell, nobody was asking me out. Well, not at 12, you know, that was kind of inappropriate. But but you know what I mean? That like just the world didn't feel like a black girl from Ghana who spoke with a slight accent was dope. But I would look in the mirror and I could see it. You know, and I think sometimes the world has a way of doing that to us, even as adults. That you are in your space at home or with your friends and you feel really great. You know, but then as soon as you step outside, something's telling you you're not. So I would tell my 12-year-old self, I'm right. I'm so dope. I'm so dope.
Absolutely. Can I add to that? And you belong. We all belong.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks so much. I've been really excited reading about your career, and obviously you've had some amazing roles, and then you've moved to another amazing role. Tell me a little bit about the philosophy you use on what makes you move, because you've had some great roles.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is what I was talking about with like the environment that you're in, and even the example I gave about being like half full, you know, and needing more. Look, okay, here's some more controversy. I think the world tells women to be humble, to wait our turn. Do the work, somebody will notice you. That's some bullshit. Ain't nobody gonna notice you. Your head's gonna be down and they're not gonna see you. And so I chose to raise my head up and start yelling about myself. Not yelling about like, you know, the wrongs that have been done and all of that. Like, yes, I do talk about that too. But mostly, I champion myself. And so in so doing, I have become fiercely loyal to myself, which means that I am truly unapologetic about what I need in the world. Look, it has not earned me a great reputation sometimes. People have called me selfish, have called me arrogant. They've said, you know, that when I come into a job, I only care about advancing myself. And it's so confusing to me, because I'm like, well, who should I advance if not myself? You want me to advance you? Oh, hell no. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It really is, like, illogical. You know? So the thing is that I want us, especially women, and even more so women of color, I want us to be more selfish. I want us to be more fiercely regarding ourselves. Throw your head up. If the environment isn't working for you, get the fuck out. And tell them so. Don't worry about the bridges you're gonna burn. As they say, let it light the way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. One day we're going to be really good friends.
Okay, girl. Yeah. Oh, okay, bestie. All right.
I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and I think you spent a part of your life right next
I
to it.
did, yes.
You've given so many gems on how you build courage and self-confidence. Is there anything else you've left out other than talking to yourself in the mirror? Like, the things you do when you were a kid, you're like, yo, I'm so good at this. And then life as an adult, like adulting humbles you.
Yeah.
So what else have you done to build courage, especially when the voices around you are like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
People, that rarely works out. Like, what has been your practice for building your courage in the face of the humbling that comes with adulthood?
Yes, no, it's a great question. And by the way, Bessie, what's happening with that belt? Can I have that at some point?
I told you, we're going to be
really
friends
cute.
one day.
Exactly.
Really good friends, and I'll hook you
No
up.
problem, I got you. No, but aside from, you're right, I think it's a lot of self-work. You know, confidence and courage really comes from self. It is very difficult to get that from the outside. You know, and I'll give you another analogy. I talk about it in my book, which is that I started hating the term like light at the end of the tunnel because I feel like it's just misguided. You know, it's like if you've ever been in the dark, like literally, you know, in a dark room or a dark place, the lights have gone out or something like that, and you see a light all the way over there and have tried to cross from here to over there, what happens? You're over here like, you know, carefully walking gingerly, like you might stub your toe, you might step on something, you might trip and fall. Like you're not walking with confidence.
Right.
Now, if you've ever, again, lived in a place where, you know, you have like your hazard stuff, you have a flashlight in the pack, is what you're supposed to have. You know why? Because you need the light on your person. Because when you have the light on your person, you're able to shine it down on the ground and see if there are any Legos that are threatening your life. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Or anything that's around you, and it gives you more confidence to walk towards the exit. And so the idea of courage really does need to be self-harnessed. It cannot be external to you. However, again, more analogies. If you have been in the dark and there is a light over there, and you don't have a flashlight, or you used to have a flashlight and it went out because the battery didn't change it, let's just pretend, okay? You do need some people over there who are like, girl, don't step to the left.
Right.
Because it's dangerous. So sometimes you do need the pack of people who are going to encourage you, you know, because sometimes it's not all about your own flashlight. But you also have to be careful about who those folks are. You know, like I said, it's like that is only up to you. You know it. You know your intuition. It tells you when somebody is giving you advice that might not be so wholly good for you. But you feel obligated to listen to it or to follow the direction, or sometimes it looks like expectation. You know, somebody sets this bar for you and then you have to go get it. Right. And then if you fall short of it, you lose some confidence, you lose some courage. And so being aware of both of those things, carry your own flashlight, and then get some people over there who are gonna tell you, girl, watch out for the left.
Thank you for bringing all of you into every room.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Leia. I'm based out of the LA office. I flew up last night because I was so excited to win the in-person lottery. And I just, first of all, want to thank you. You've been such a source of strength and inspiration as I've navigated the last 5 years of highs and lows of when my mom died at the same time I had my first child. And just your realness about grief, your sense of humor, your badassery, your morning workouts. I just want you to know how many times it's gotten me out of bed. One thing that I read a few years ago that you once had said in an interview was, even though your most important role in life is that of being a mother, you still are living your life. It's I'm messing up the wording, but you said something along the lines of like, but this is my life.
Yes.
And just would love for you to elaborate a bit more on that, since that's just like an ongoing tension, I would imagine, for many women.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for asking that question, because it is such a tension. You know, again, I think society tells us that when you decide to become a mother or a partner or whatever, that somehow you're supposed to put yourself in second place or third or fourth or fifth. You know, that if you're not sacrificing for those around you, then you must not love them. Which is so, again, what a lie. You know, it's like, no, sacrificing yourself just makes you awful. It really does. You know, it makes you bitter, makes you angry and tired and not pleasant. I remember a time when Lael was really little. Lael's my daughter, who's now 13 and 3/4. Ooh, girl, I said 13 yesterday. She almost, okay, anyway. You see that? It was just like a little bit of trigger. Anyway. She has a hold on my life. But I remember like, and this is like super personal, but hell, we're all friends now, right? We're all besties, like homegirl from Nairobi. I was contemplating getting out of my marriage, you know, and thinking about what that would mean to our family. Leah was just over a year old. And the reason why I ended up deciding to separate was that I looked at her and thought, she will never know the person who is effervescent, the person who is easy to laughter. You know, she's gonna know the person who's tired and probably a little bitter, angry most of the time, feeling obligated to stay in a relationship for the kids. All of those things. And those are lies. You know, this life is mine. It really is, it's mine. It's not my kids. It's not my mom's. It's not my partner's. I have a cute new man, but it's not his either. You know what I mean? It's mine. Yeah, okay, yes. But really, it is my life. And I've had the privilege, and I'll say the privilege, of being at death's door with someone when you realize that all of the other things, they really don't matter. And as you just said, it's like if you've been there yourself, you know that at the end of life, it is theirs that is going. You don't go with them. And so in your life as you live, you must live it for yourself. You'll be a much better person for it. And at the end of your life, you'll be a much happier person to go.
Thank you so much for being such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Hi, Bozoma. My name is Faith. So when you talk about living the full width of your life, I think about shamelessly enjoying the little things, like your fancy little teacup that you use to drink your espresso in the morning or something like that, watering your plants. So I want to know, like, what are the little things that you shamelessly enjoy every single day to make sure you're living the full width of your life?
Yes, girl. Okay. And I like your stance, too. Power girl.
Stance.
Yes, I love it. So, you know, I find it so interesting that now, in today's age, it's like pop culture is like a thing that people celebrate and think is smart. Like, when I started my career, it was not the smart thing. You know, people would be like, okay, great, yeah, but what about the data? And I'm like, do you know where Angelina Jolie had her third child? You don't, do you? I do. You know, it's like, I do know that information actually, but I don't care, it's fine. The point is that like the pop culture, to me, like all consumption of it is my thing. Like I love it so much. I will be out here on Twitter, on Instagram, I'm watching the movies, I'm watching the TV shows, I'm listening to the music, I'm going to the concerts, I'm doing all of the things. Like I don't find that that dumbs me down or makes me not serious. I'm about the fashions also. Don't let them tell you wrong. You know, so I like consuming the things that I find entertaining. You know, and I think that sometimes it's regarded as like a pastime, but I actually find much power in it. It actually makes me a better executive, I think, because I'm able to understand what's happening in culture. You know, so yes, like a little teacup, I like my reality shows also.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, boss. How are you?
Hi.
As someone I'm from Sierra Leone, so
Ah.
fellow West African, and someone who grew up also in a really white town, I feel you. I was just wondering, when you started your career, and I know you graduated from Wesleyan,
That's right.
how we know that a lot of women are over-mentored and under-sponsored. How were you able to find that sponsorship that moved you throughout your career?
Yes. Ooh, what a great question. Thank you. I hate mentorship. I really do. I find it so awkward. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get on the phone or you meet for coffee and then what do? So tell me about your goals. I don't know. You know what I mean? Or somebody's just like, oh, tell me how to do. I don't know, girl. I don't know what to do. Tell me about what you did last night, though. You know what I mean? Like, I find that friendship is so much better. And in that, you find sponsorship. You know, because I think we have overcomplicated this idea of mentorship and sponsorship and all the other ships. We forgot friendship somewhere along the way. like actually real relationships. And so what happens is that, think about your own friendships, right? Like the people in your bestie circle, that if they wanted another job or they needed some advice on how to do, you'd be over there, bringing your bottle of wine with you, you know, to counsel and help and be like, okay, this is what you're gonna say. You know, you write the script with them. Or like, look, I've had more than a few resignations in my career for which other friends wrote my resignation for me. Because the things I was gonna say. It was gonna end up in the press. And you know how the press does, okay? That email would have been shared real quick, you know what I mean? And then you could, screw you! But I think that friendship is so much better. And so focusing on that versus the mentorship and the sponsorship is actually what's gonna get you ahead. I have some really great friends who are very powerful. And I can call them, I can text them, I can complain, I can ask them for favors. That's what it takes. And so focus on the friendships.
All right, thank you, and thanks for being inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Boz, I loved your podcast on We Can Do Hard Things, laughed and cried. I was wondering, so also love the premise of the urgent life, living fully. I also lost my mother. I'm a new mom. I wondered, do you ever, for all that you think about living fully, feel terrified about those who would be left behind if something were to happen? And how do you hold that celebration and possible terror?
Oh, what a great question. God, y'all are good. You know what, I should come work here, huh? Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'd be so happy with y'all as colleagues. No, it's such a great question because, you know, so here's something I didn't write about in my book, but is a real thing. My sister, who is 15 months younger than I, we're totally close, very, 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 very close. She's a lawyer by trade. We are nothing alike. But she was the one who came to New York. She was living here in California when my husband got ill. She's the one who eventually started administering his medicine. Like she did all those things. And she tells a story about a few days after Peter had died, where I was sitting in the living room and I had a whole bunch of paperwork around me and I was just staring off into the darkness or whatever, right? Couldn't focus on anything. And it changed her perspective because she realized that she wanted to help people like me. You know, that she could use her experience as an attorney, her knowledge about sort of end of life and what it takes to help people like me who are left behind after death and have to pick up the pieces, you know? And in her work, she's now been doing that almost 10 years. Her name's Elua Arthur, by the way, if you want to look her up. She's a death doula, is what is, I know, right? Isn't it fascinating? Oh, wow. I know. Yeah. She's a real empath too, so sometimes she has to take a lot of breaks from this work. But one thing that she said to me quite a few years ago, which I thought was so brilliant, because I was really living in a place of fear, because, you know, as you can imagine, right, it's like, look, when Peter died, I was like, oh shit, like, it's just me now. You know, what happens, like, if I go? Like, you know, I leave her here by herself, and so it made me super scared. And I also was afraid of just everything falling, you know? And the greatest piece of advice she gave me along that journey was around getting prepared for the worst. You know, it's like, of course you want to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. You know, so it calmed me because then I was like, oh, I see, okay. So what happens if I go and I have to leave Lael here? Don't want it to happen, but I want her to be taken care of, you know? So it forced me to have the real conversations, you know, meaning like guardianship. Who's gonna take care of her, you know? Not my knucklehead cousin. You know what I'm saying? Actually, Tina, I love her. Shout out to Tina. Everybody's got a cousin Tina, you know what I mean? I love Tina. But, you know, so I had to have those conversations with, and they're in pecking order, you know, with the three people. Okay, you are up next, you know? And after you, something happens to you, this person. And then if something happens to this person, you know? I set up a trust for her that she has access to when she's 18. Well, she has, you know, things to take care of her until she gets there, but then she has access to it when she's 18, access to it when she's 21, access to it when she's 24. It gave me confidence that should the worst happen, and I'm no longer here, she'll be protected. She's the only person I care about.
Yeah.
And so for me, it has helped me to be less fearful. Also, because of having lost Peter and gone through the process of having to say the goodbyes, I don't leave home without leaving her a note or calling her. Even this morning on my way here, we FaceTimed, told her I loved her, because should I go, I want her to know that I love her, that the person I thought of last was her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I hate to disturb this amazing conversation, but we probably have time for just one last question.
Oh my God. Okay, this is amazing.
You're the lucky one, yeah.
Thank you. All right, so hi, Bozoma. My name is Sadeja McCutcheon. I graduated from Wesleyan, and
hello.
you have single-handedly been like the Wesleyan alum I've always looked up to, always talked about. I've got friends here today who hit me up like, you put me on to Boz, and I'm coming. And so this is absolutely just such an amazing dream come true. So you talk about the urgent life, and you talk about also rethinking scarcity and having a glass half empty so that you can fill it up. I think part of that is also about timing, right? Like, I've wanted to meet you since I graduated Wesleyan, and here we are 5 years later, and I'm meeting you, right, in this beautiful way. And so I think timing sometimes is of the essence, but of course you got to be mindful of how you time things.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how has timing factored into your decision making? And also, I'm a community person. I built community here at Alphabet, and I'm curious, how do you build and nurture your community, factoring in timing, of course, and all of it?
Yes. Ooh, okay. So first of all, hello, West Tech, all right?
Yes.
So intuition is what plays into my timing. I don't move unless I feel the need to move. And I'm being serious about that. We don't give our intuition enough credit. I gave a TED talk about it, by the way. You can look it up. Because your intuition actually won't steer you wrong. Sometimes we make the pro and con lists, or we go ask for advice from other people, or we do all those things because we don't trust ourselves. That's why we do that. So it's like, okay, how about we do a little practice? Like, don't ask anybody for any advice for 24 hours. Try that. Or if you have a pro and con list about a decision you're trying to make, throw it away. Oh, okay, y'all scared. Do that, because I want you to try and concentrate on what you are feeling. I'm pointing here because my intuition comes from here. Sometimes you feel it in their heart, sometimes in their head, mine's in my gut. My stomach starts hurting me if I'm not doing the thing I'm being led to do. Or sometimes if you had to make a decision about something, you're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that thing. Well, that's because you're scared to listen to your intuition. So timing for me has been purely based on that. It's gotten stronger over the years. Just like any other muscle or any other relationship you have, your relationship with self gets stronger as you believe yourself, you trust yourself, you go with yourself. So therefore, now it's like when there's a decision to be made, oh, my gut is talking to me loud, and there's no way for me to ignore it, Or like use context, for instance. I've used this example a few times in the past, but it's like, if you are, like we've been talking about, I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, right? I live in Los Angeles now. Now, Los Angeles is unseasonably cold right now. And let's pretend my homegirl here was in Colorado, and she was calling me, said, Boz, I'm coming to visit you. What should I wear? And I'm like, girl, it's cold. Bring your puffer. Bring some gloves, earmuffs, girl, you need earmuffs. Bring a hat, and then she shows up at the airport, and she's hot as hell. Because she's like, girl, it is 64 degrees. You should have, what kind of lies? And I'm like, no, it's cold. Because the thing is that she asked for direct advice, which she did not need. What she needed was context. The question she should have asked was, what is the weather? And I say 64 degrees. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll bring my light jacket then and some shorts. You know what I mean? And so that is the example of how your intuition works in the context of the real world and timing. Do not ask somebody when I should go, what I should do, how I should do it. You ask the context questions. Tell me about this place. What is this thing like? Those are the things you ask. And then let your intuition lead on whether or not you should leave or stay. I forgot the second part of your question, but can you forgive me by coming up here and taking a selfie real quick?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
my God.
Absolutely. Right now?
Yeah, right now. Come on, let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, my God.
Can we get an IG filter on it?
Yes, girl, go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Oh, now she want to put a filter on it and everything.
yeah,
You see? Yeah, girl, come on, let's do it.
No idea.
Okay, yeah, no, you look cute too. Oh, there we go. I'm cute.
You're the best. Thank you. Thank you.
That was so good. Thank you so much
Oh, it's
for
my
coming
pleasure.
here today and
Thank
for this
you.
amazing conversation. One last thing that I want to leave the audience with is, what is one quote or mantra that you live by?
Oh, well, I mean, I think this
Yeah.
one
Very
is
easy,
obvious.
right? Yeah.
Live life urgently, right now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you so much.